Come on. Let's go.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue.
Flex. Buckle up and join the best. Let's succeed, relieve your stress. So yes, let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the 5. Mondays to Fridays happening live. Where we gon' have a ball, you can text your guys. Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. Are you ready for the Traffic Avenue? Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. An applause for the Traffic Avenue.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
It's 17:30 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umaru Sanda Amadou. Tonight I'm here with
Akusia Ochre.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes, operatives of the Office of Special Prosecutor invade the Abelinkwe residence of former Sanitation and Water Resources Minister Cecilia Dapaah to search it following her arrest earlier today. Also coming up, NPP flag bearer aspirants balloting ends in a no-show after all of them except Vice President Bawumia pushed for a postponement of the exercise. And later, on Eyewitness News, youth of Asawase vandalized a police station over the death of one of their own who was in custody. 6 persons arrested. We have the autopsy report for you here. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on that and many other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
Total mobile money transactions reached a record of 859 billion cedis in the first 6 months of 2023.
That's in 50 minutes from the City Business Desk. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a number of affiliate stations in the Western region on Premier 100.5 FM in Takoradi, Beach 105.5 FM also in Takoradi, as well as Sky Power 93.5 FM also in Takoradi. In the Bono region on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani, in Ahafo on Hammers Radio 106.5 in Goso, in Ashanti region on Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi, in Volta region on Akpini Radio 96.7 in Kwando, and Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohwe. In the northern region on Dasuma 99.1 FM in Yendi, in Upper East on Word FM 88.3 in Zuarungu, in Upper West on Westlink 88.1 FM in Laura, and in Northeast on Eagle 94.1 FM in Wali. The show is live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook. We are also live on citynewsroom.com. It's interactive. Join us on WhatsApp 0549 986 996 0549 986 996. You can send tweets using the hashtag CityNewsroom. Tweet at Umaru Sanda or at City973 and the world will hear what you think. Let's settle for details of our stories now. And the first one has to do with the story that we've been running for you since last week. It has to do with Cecilia Dapaah. If you have not been following the news, just coming out under a rock or something, the news is that over the weekend she resigned as Minister for Sanitation. And this is after the Chronicle newspaper published a story in which story it was revealed that she had laid a complaint or lodged a complaint with the police in Accra, asking the police to arrest and investigate 5 persons whom she suspected were behind the theft of money in her home, $1 million, 360,000 euros, and millions of Ghana cedis, as well as jewelry and other clothing that were stolen. This raised eyeballs, and the whole country was speaking about it. She was forced to resign on Saturday. The president had to accept her resignation, even though he wished he didn't, if you read the language of the president's response. But she has become a former minister of sanitation now. This morning, the Office of Special Prosecutor announced that she had been placed under arrest. And a few hours ago, we received information that her home and other premises are being searched. Fred Duho is at one of the premises. He's a Citi News. He's in the Citi. He's from the Citi Newsroom, or a Citi News reporter, and he's joining me on the line now. Fred, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. Which of the premises or the facilities of the former minister are you currently at, and what's happening?
Sandra, I am currently within her Abelente residence, and that particular place is located within the Asawase West Wogon municipality. And I got here at exactly 5:01 p.m. on the dot. And when we came, we saw some 3 vehicles that has numbers I can't really disclose, but these are pickups that are black in color, filled with policemen and military personnel. The former Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Honorable Cecilia Dapaah, actually came out of one of the pickup vehicles. I saw some known faces who said they don't want to be disclosed as to being part of this search party. But as I speak with you, the search party is still ongoing for the past 35 minutes. You will see from time to time policemen come out of the house with their sidearms and guns here and there. They move on the streets, and then they still go back in there. Some of them come to the vehicle at the main entrance, put on hand gloves, and then go in again to continue with whatever they are doing there. We are not privy to what is happening inside the premises, but from what we observe from the outside, the 3 vehicles, as I described earlier, are parked at the entrance. One Ford 4x4 vehicle, Ford Explorer, is also at the entrance here parked with another Honda vehicle. So in all, about 5 vehicles, 2 of them being private, and the other 3 being the pickups. I presuppose they are from the office of the special prosecutor, and these are personnel from the office of the OSP conducting a search party in the house of the Honorable former Sanitation and Water Resource Minister.
Did we or did you see any other members of the household beyond the minister herself?
No, we only saw the minister herself getting down from the pickup and going in there. From what I gathered from some colleagues who were present before we came, they actually indicated that when she got down from the vehicle, she actually waved at them, waving bye-bye of the sort, trying to... she looks like she's someone in high spirit. She doesn't look disturbed by the whole situation. She's basically leading or cooperating with investigation as of now.
I see. Now, has this drawn the attention of onlookers? Are there people who are just interested in what's happening there, who've come around trying to know what's happening, or is just a team of journalists that has converged on the premises trying to nose around?
This is exclusively for Citi and another media house. So we are only 2 media houses present at this particular place. Onlookers, I would say when we got here, they were present. They were quite curious as to what was happening because the manner in which they saw the military men with their ammunitions coming down from the vehicle with their police personnel, they felt something was going on, and knowing very well that they live in the neighborhood with a public or politically exposed person, they believe something obviously was going on, and that would not be far-fetched from what they've been reading and hearing from the news and on social media. So they were here briefly for about 5 minutes, and most of them have gone back. I can see some of them very far away who are basically also having their own conversation. And from time to time, they point fingers at this direction where we are currently standing. And that points to, I probably would make that guess that they are equally talking about what is happening here presently. But the numbers, like I mentioned from the onset, they came out, saw what was happening, and most of them have gone back to continue with what they've been doing before the vehicles arrived here.
Since, Fred, they are not allowing you inside the house, maybe you want to hear from the people who are around, people who live around or do business around. We'll be happy to hear what they think. But thank you for now.
Oh, okay. So we have some personnel here who, some onlookers here who are willing to speak to us. And just
okay, go ahead. Try and speak.
I'll try and speak to them and find out what they make of what is happening here. The person is just about a minute away from me, but just hold on, and I plead with our listeners to just bear with us.
So while you walk there, Fred, is this an area? Is it a residential area? Is it an area where the businesses maybe at the front of the house? What kind of environment is this?
Well, so this place looks like more of a residential with other businesses around. I see a hotel also around, and I see other businesses, stores opened. And from time to time, the place is not that busy. You see hairdressing salon and other facilities all around. So the place is quite serene. The hotel is also quite calm. The environment is quite a place I can describe basically as a residential one. But let's speak to some of the residents in this area. Welcome to Eyewitness News. Your full name?
I'm Yao. I'm Yao Kwame. I live around.
I realized when the police vehicles came here earlier, you actually drew closer, but from time you just returned. What were you looking for?
All right, we saw the scene. We're a bit curious. Everybody wanted to know what's happening because we live around a neighborhood. So when we heard about the news, we drew a bit closer and then wanted to know what was happening.
For how long have you been living here, and what can you tell us about living in the neighborhood with these politically exposed persons? And by the way, have you heard about the news where there is a house located quite closer to you, and someone was allegedly to have stolen some amount of money from this political person?
Yeah, I've lived here for quite a long time. Let's say over 15 to 20 years now. So we know the house officer lives in our house. Because we all live on this very stretch. Yeah, so we're amazed when we heard about the news that we're amazed as soon as we heard about the news like that, and then we said, okay, let's find out more. Maybe there's more to it. So we're also here to witness what is happening now.
By the way, how does this politically exposed person, in this case, the person is known, the Honorable Cecilia Dapaah, how does she conduct herself in this vicinity?
She's not exposed to anybody. Cecilia might say she's always to a house. She comes out. If you can see the demarcation of the area, when it comes out, as soon as she comes out, she just moves out. So not even more people know that she's around. Most people don't know she lives around. But we know that she lives around. We always see the police guard over there. So we know she lives around.
How did you receive this news of the amount of money being stolen from her house?
Actually, as we are here, we even need some of the money. That's why we also do closer. Maybe if there's more there, they should even share it to us so that we also find our way. It all boils down to how you take off your house. And when you're not taking care of them very well, who will see money and will not take it away? But when they are comfortable, I don't think anybody will come and steal your money. So it boils down to how they are treated. And then maybe when they see your money, they'll take your money and bring it to you. But I see that they're also starving. So when they see the money, they also have to try and find a means and then survive.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Sandra, that is one gentleman who just shared with us what he thinks about the incident that is happening in this area.
All right. Thank you so much, Fred. Please do keep an eye on the development and share with us details as and when you get them. That's Fred Duho of the Citi Newsroom. He's reporting for us there from the Abelimpe residence of the Honorable Cecilia Dapaah The officers from the Office of Special Prosecutor in her house, currently searching the house after arresting her earlier in the day. Let's look at the legal issues around this particular conversation. Martin Kpebu is a private legal practitioner. A lot has been said about these arrests, people asking for more prosecution and so on. But legally, what has she done wrong? And what can you really do against someone who has money in their home? Is there a law that says do not have money in your home? Counsel, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me, sir?
Okay. All right, yes. Okay,
Is there any legal issue in this, or is it just a moral issue? We should forget the law part of things.
Oh, no. Sandra, no, you're teasing us. Okay, sure. A whole lot of legal issues. You know, the first law that's implicated here is Article 286 plus 4, which says that if a public officer is found with money and any other form of property which cannot be attributed to that public officer's income, loan, inheritance, then or gift, then that property is deemed to have been illegally acquired. And it implies, though you don't see it expressly there, it's implied that the state will confiscate it. Because the context is that you've declared your assets, and then somebody sees that hey, you are holding more than what you can afford as a minister, DC, MMDC, whatever. And so somebody goes to report. So either SHRAD or OSC. So I'm laying the context. Under the law, you can go to either SHRAD or OSC. So pull your declaration of assets at the time you took office. Then they will ask you to explain. If it's not already in there and you're saying it's new, you explain. If your explanation doesn't add up, it's confiscated. It's confiscated. So, look, if this one is even faster, this first step, once you cannot explain unexplained wealth, it goes to the state. Where I've been saying that the state authorities can call you to explain certain wealth, you are not able to explain, and then you say, oh, you still want to keep the item. No, the Constitution says that property would have been acquired illegally. And where in Ghana do we allow people to go around with illegal property? It's going to be confiscated straight. Yes. So that's the first one. Then number two, now that the OSC is gone in, done the arrest, everything and all those things, the next thing is that as they investigate, what do you call it? We will see if maybe we will see corruption, like what we are eagerly, if you are around, you read news and you follow Ghanaian politics. Corruption is the first thing you'll be looking for, or at least, yes, bribery and corruption. Where is this money from? Could it be the contract she's superintended over a ministry? You know, even on social media, some people have suggested certain contracts. I will not repeat, but at least, you see, we are reasonable people. We are beginning to look around. And do you even imagine that there was one of the radio stations, the TV stations, where an entity communicator came and said for one of the contracts, the World Bank project, the $48 million project. The guy even suggested that the owners, the contractors could have come to that $2 million. I don't know whether the guy knew exactly what he was saying. Okay, so let's see how the source of the money, the investigations will lead to something. By all means, it will lead to something. Yes, so we should be very excited. These are very exciting times. Exciting because, President Kufuor thought we are kids. The way he kept mentioning, he hasn't seen corruption, blah, blah, blah. He will fight with the Anas principle, and he hasn't fought even with anything. And now, through God's own means, we are uncovering them one by one. So please, there are a lot of issues on this. The OSC is on it. SHRAD may also weigh in, and then let's take it from there.
But it's too early to be passing judgment on the honorable former minister, isn't it? Because we have not heard from her yet. We don't even know what the state investigators have been picking up. We don't even know whether this money was part of what she declared under Article 285, like you hinted earlier.
Umaru,
so the issue of breaking the law may not arise for now. And again, don't forget that she's supposed to be a victim. We are not considering that aspect too, are we?
You are trying. But let me repeat, please. For each day that Ms. Dapaah doesn't bring her response, we are at liberty to assume that she's not able to bring it. You see, sometimes you see the way we speak our local languages, there's a lot of wisdom. When you hear the elders say that the truth is only one, it's one. So from day one, that Friday, people have been talking about this. So what is this at all that you can't come out and tell us? It is the company straight, quickly. So the more she delays, then the more it fuels the suspicion. Look, this is normal in every society. You can't find a society where we say, yes, I'm a lawyer. I was just telling your colleague, that yes, sometimes you see, we wear different hats. I can't say, just because I'm a lawyer, we can't say anything until OSC is done. No, it's not that. It's like that. You hear the local saying, say, you and you bonnie. So the commentary has to continue alongside. We'll be careful. We haven't passed another judgment. That one is for court of law, etc. But within public opinion, we are allowed to make reasonable inference. Yes, once there's no court case right now, we are allowed. If you have said there's a court case, so we shouldn't be making inferences, then maybe I would have listened to it a bit. But right now, no court case. So, and these commentaries we run also help, because when it does that, then it shows you the public anger will be an incentive for the OSC to do its work excellently, because you know that people are angry, people are talking about this scandal. So there's no chance to make a mistake. There's no chance to go slow, and all that. So this public commentary serves a very useful purpose. We're passing judgment. No, it's within that we can make inferences.
Since it emerged that the OSP had taken interest, I've seen people on social media who are not very confident about the outcome. Are you confident that something is going to come out of this? And there are people who make the commentary and who are critiquing the OSP are critiquing from a precedent point of view.
I'm very confident the OSP will get us something. I'm very confident. Look, the way Madam Dapaah has not been able to come out swiftly, that in itself begins to tell that, no, all is not well. Because such a matter, if the money is clean money, immediately you hear this noise about it. So what? Is this money you are talking about? Look at it. This is where I got it. You don't delay. So the Madam Dapaah's delay in coming out gives me great discomfort, and you see that people will continue commenting. Because the truth is just one. If you just got it from here, why not? Quickly. What are lawyers will not sleep. They will work overnight to read over papers in case you think, in commenting that you got it from here, maybe GRA will come after you. But that's another matter. Any day, you even be better off going out quickly and then deal with GRA later than for your name to be soiled. You see, because don't forget, others who are saying the longer this takes, any answer that comes out later, the public are bound to say that it's a cooked up answer. It's cooked. That's easier with answers that take long. Good. So now let's come to the other side of your question. So those who are complaining and say they don't have trust in the OSC, well, you see, in a society, those things are bound to happen. You can't get everybody saying that everything will go to plan, everything will be done perfectly. No. Even the day we have to think alike, that everything will go according to plan, that will be the beginning of the end for us as a society. So the skeptics are very, very necessary in every society, because their skepticism is going to incentivize the OSP to do the work excellently, because they know that they have critics. If the OSP were to know that, all Ghanaians are behind, there are no critics, then there is room for complacency. That's the way I see it. So allow the always remember that you and Kasahua, you bonnie. And the Baba is your hair, you don't complain from time to time. The elders say that your haircut will not be the best.
Thank you. That's Martin Kpebu. He's a lawyer, private legal practitioner, that is, sharing his perspectives with us, the legal point of view. Let's look at the political side of things. What does this mean to the Akufo-Addo government, and what does the government have to do? We do know that in the past, the president has referred persons to the Attorney General and the Office of Special Prosecutor for investigation. In this particular instance, the president did not do that. He wished the Honorable Cecilia Dapaah well when he responded to her resignation. Is that the best approach that the president should use? What does this mean to the general question around the transparency in his government? Professor Ransford Jampo is a lecturer of political science at the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana. He's joined us on the line for some analysis on this. Prof, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Hi, Umar. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Prof, two things arise. There were demands for her to be fired. She did not get fired. She left. She jumped. She was not pushed. Which one would have been better, that she's sacked or that she resigns? And I'm asking this question in terms of politically speaking.
Well, she resigned, and I think that's a better route she resorted to. And I want to commend and applaud that initiative of looking at public outcry and criticisms, whether you have a good case or you don't have a good case, looking at the way and manner people are talking. She decided to resign. And I read the resignation letter where she explained that she sought to controvert what is in the public domain, insisting that the monies that are being bandied around are not the monies that she reported to the police. That notwithstanding, she doesn't think that she wants to affect or hurt the party's future and the party's electoral fortunes by allowing this thing to be discussed and to be used as a mass link against the party. And so for that matter, she's resigning, and then she also promised that she was going to cooperate with any investigative body that will want to investigate the matter, and express the hope that she may come out exonerated. I am enthused and excited about this because in Ghana, we don't resign, regardless. We don't know how to resign. And if she had decided that she wasn't going to resign, she would have gotten some people who would have offered all manner of senseless explanations to why she shouldn't resign. And so I am very happy that she decided to go that route. And it's important that all public servants and people who are given such appointments, when some of these things happen, I mean, you are just undergoing investigation. If it comes out that you are exonerated, so be it. But to stay on and to perpetuate or fester an idea that something has happened or something untoward has happened, I mean, doesn't help you. It doesn't help the bigger body to which one may belong to. And so for me, I think it is good, So it is now, otherwise people were going to be asking her to be resigning. People were also going to be critiquing the president. And, the president wouldn't have paid heed to any call on him to fire her. And so now he saved herself. And then she's also saved the president from the kind of critique that would have been leveled against him. So it's good.
I see. Now, the government's approach, would you say that's the best way to, that the government plays an I wait and see position?
Yeah, but what else can the government do? I'm told that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has, is it invited or arrested? I don't know.
Arrested.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we must all review our notes about what constitutes an arrest. But I'm told she's been arrested, and I think there's been some interrogations. I mean, that's the route I believe every maturing democracy would want to resort to. So let them do the investigation, and if she's been relieved, she's no longer with government. Let us wait for the investigation. What else do you want the government to do? I think for the first time in Ghana's political history, the social media political laggards and party food soldiers and communicators have been very civil about this matter. In previous times, you will hear them saying all manner of things in support and in defense. But what I'm growing to understand is that in a maturing democracy, if people are hungry and if people are living in economic miserization, and then they find one person alone living in that kind of opulence or hiding such huge sums of money, privately, people will decide to be together to condemn. And even if they don't condemn publicly, they will condemn behind the scenes, and they may not offer that kind of support. So I'm making reference to the bit when, if you look at our political history, once upon a time, Obed Asamoah was also alleged to have given some huge sums of money belonging to the government or the party, and his bet. And both NDC and MPP at the time decided to take exception to that kind of attitude. And so we are growing as a democracy. Let us see how this one too go. But I believe that the culture of resignation that is virtually unknown to us must begin to first start looking at what the woman has done. And the president also accepted her resignation. I think it is good. But I didn't like the bit that he expressed the hope that she was going to be exonerated. It shouldn't come from the president. It's becoming one too many. Oftentimes when people are going to be investigated, and you hear the number one citizen of the land saying that, making comments to the effect that the person is not even guilty. And if you do that, you see, people who hold duty bearers in Ghana, it's only a few duty bearers in Ghana who have the strong will to be able to discharge their mandate, damning the consequences and without pandering to influence of the executive arm of government. But generally, regardless of how independent people are, they tend to be holding to the president. And so a person may be close to all manner of power, but he becomes overly subservient to the president. And when, if you have this kind of situation and you have a president often expressing these kinds of hope, then it tends to undermine their independence and capacity to be able to do work and come out with findings that may be at variance with the president's hope that he may have expressed. And so the president should have simply accepted her resignation and shouldn't have commented further.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, Prof.
It is my pleasure.
That's Professor Ransford Jampo. He is with the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana. Now, the news is that the Office of Special Prosecutor has arrested Cecilia Dapaah, taking her to her residence in Abelinkpi. Currently, as we speak, officers of the OSP are searching her house. She herself is also there. Our reporter, Fred Duho, is there. He is covering that particular story for us. When we get more developments, we share with you. But talking about the Office of Special Prosecutor, the man who heads that office is Kisie Jabin. Before he became before he became SP, which is Special Prosecutor, he had to go through vetting after the president nominated him. Now, at the vetting, that's the Appointments Committee of Parliament, a number of questions were asked. One of them has to do with this issue that we are discussing now, where if someone has wealth that you cannot explain, you have to force them to explain. It's called reverse burden of proof. It is a practice in law in some countries. We do not have that immediately, we are told, but the Honorable Minority Leader at the time, who is MP for Tamale South, Haruna Idrisu, quizzed the then prospective or SP nominee on what he thinks of this issue of reverse burden of proof. Let's listen to what Kisie Jabin thinks about that particular principle.
Now, you know the evidential rule, burden of proof, particularly in criminal jurisprudence, proof beyond reasonable doubts. Do you share the view that we should criminalize unexplained wealth in Ghana? Do you share the view that we should criminalize unexplained wealth in Ghana? It is a bit too, Honorable Chair, it is a bit too overbroad. It's unexplained wealth. In criminal jurisprudence, criminal constructs should be more pointed, more focused, and cleared because of the specter of someone ending up in jail, losing his liberty, or being fined, especially for an amount. And so if we are to place it in proper context, unexplained wealth, I would say that if the person cannot reasonably explain as much against his lawful income, the amount of money in question, then that aspect, in my opinion, should be criminal. But if you can reasonably explain how you came about that amount of money, then that should be allowable, that should be acceptable. So in your context, unexplained wealth would be reasonable explanation of the source of that property, wealth, or funds.
Jama, just to take that normally, I appreciate your response to it. If you take the United road is the system likely, the process of combating economic and fighting corruption have what they call a reverse burden of proof, that the onus must shift, that when those assets cannot be explained for, an irrebuttable presumption is that they are acquired illegally, fraudulently, it may be taking advantage of the state and its resources. So they now go for a reverse burden of proof. Will you subscribe to that for Ghana in our quest, our collective quest to fight corruption? Thank you, Chair.
Now, Chair, I'll link it to my answer to the first question. Also, pointing out that criminal constructs are very, very dangerous if not well thought out. A reverse onus clause, as the honorable member rightly put it, puts the burden on the accused person to explain to explain one way or the other the charge against him, rather than the prosecution bearing the burden of proving his guilt. In the context in which I answered the first question, of course, if the construct here is that you cannot reasonably explain as to how you came by that wealth or property matched against your lawful income, then it presupposes that I have already placed the onus on you to show as to how you came lawfully in possession of that wealth, property, or funds. So, in that context, my answer will be yes.
So that's Cecilia Dapaah, the special prosecutor, speaking during her vetting at the time before the Appointments Committee of Parliament. And she was answering questions from Haruna Idrisu, then Minority Leader, Member of Parliament for Tamale South. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Return with more. Please stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Bro, what's up? I beg, where the Total Energy service station day for here?
Still up here. Tornado. Charlie. I beg. Make I take picture with you first, then I go show you the Total station. Today, Instagram could cry. Hey! Oh, about the directions. Go forward small. You go meet a watch seller like Santan. The Total station is right after.
Thanks, bro. But now you know be Total. It be Total Energies. You the bab.
Tornado. You do all. Quiet.
The time is here, starting 24th July. Buy fuel or lubricants from any Total Energy service station and win free amazing prizes instantly. Promo is valid while stocks last. Terms and conditions apply. Total Energies, energizing your future.
When shopping for a dress, you say,
of course, a low burst line, a little tight by the hips, covered sleeves, off shoulder, definitely.
But when buying anti-malarial drug, you say,
is it not malaria? Give me whatever is available.
Choose your malaria drugs the same way you choose your dress. Always ask for Coartem. It's also available in cherry-flavored dispersible tablets for children. Don't gamble with malaria. Choose right. Choose Coartem. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Malaria testing should be done before treatment. This advert is FDA approved.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. Now, former Gender Minister Nana Bampoado has described President Akufo-Addo's acceptance letter to Cecilia Dapaah's resignation as disappointing. Nana during this interview with the media at the 11th anniversary of the late President John Evans Atta Mills at the Asumdwe Park, demanded that President Akufo-Addo tells Ghanaians the source of the former sanitation minister's funds.
We have seen a charge sheet. The facts are clear that $1 million, 300,000 euro was stolen. You make a complaint, investigations ensue. Based on the investigations, the police prepare a charge sheet. So the fact is indisputable that $1 million, according to Honorable Cecilia Dapaah, has gone missing and has been stolen by the 3 or so people. And it is a dark mark on the leadership of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And I found his letter accepting the resignation of Honorable Cecilia Dapaah very disappointing.
That was former Gender Minister Nana Bampoado.
This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. Let's go to the New Patriotic Party headquarters now. That party is preparing for its internal primaries to choose a flag bearer. Now, the road to choosing a flag bearer involves a number of steps, including balloting to decide who is going to be on which part of the ballot paper, whether at the top, the bottom, or in the middle. And those numbers, if you followed politics and elections, are very crucial in crafting campaign songs and campaign messages. The party had scheduled today for the 10 flag bearer aspirants to ballot and decide where their photos or names are going to be. We are told that failed to happen. Sami Yafi was there. He's joined me in studio. Sami, you're welcome to Eyewitness.
Thank you very much, Sandra.
So what went wrong?
Okay, so today, as you mentioned, they were supposed to do the balloting ahead of the special delegate election, which is taking place on the 26th of August. But that did not take place today. So they pushed that particular event to Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, 26th. So the party will not officially give reason why the balloting could not come on, because there was a marathon meeting between the elections committee of the MPP and the agents or representatives of these aspirants. Mm-hmm. Now, before this meeting took place, there was a petition circulating at the premises of the MPP headquarters, which says that these aspirants and their agents will not take part in the balloting, or more or less they are boycotting the balloting because they want the elections committee or the party to give a clear guideline and modality ahead of the election. So with your permission, I read this particular petition they sent to the elections committee, and it says, request for postponement of special voting balloting. It says, we present our compliment to you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the Presidential Elections Committee of our great party. We trust this letter meets you well. Now, it continues that we understand, we the undersigned aspirants, eager to know the modalities of the election processes as to ensure a level playing field and transparency. It is suggested that the Presidential Election Committee meet with the aspirants or their representative before the balloting. We believe this meeting will give aspirants the opportunity to make an informed decision whether or not to take part in the upcoming election. Sorry for any inconvenience this late afternoon. And it is signed by the representatives of nine of these aspirants, with the exception of Dr. Mahmoud Bomia, whose representative did not sign this particular petition. So Alan Chamantin had his representative sign. Boache Jako also had his rep sign, the same as all the aspirants: Kwabene Japan, Koyo Poku, Kennedy Japan, Dr. Osei Efia Koto, Dr. Kofi Kunodu Apreku, Joe Gate, and Francis Adainimo. Now, as I saw all these agents at this particular meeting, the vice president was represented by Mr. Fred Owari, who works at the office of the vice president, and Nano Hinto, the former general secretary, stood in for Mr. Alan Chamantin. Boache Jako also had his rep there, Kwabene Japan, and all other aspirants. Kenu also, who was a former voter regional chairman of the MPP, was also present, and he represented Dr. Owusu Akoto-Efie, the former CEO of the Ghana Maritime Authority, also standing for Kennedy Japan, and other representatives. Now, the argument is that they will not be part of the balloting unless the party's election committee comes up with the modalities towards the election.
I see. So the balloting did not happen.
It did not take
and we
place.
don't know when it's going to happen next.
According to Mr. Apenyo Markin, the Deputy Majority Leader in Parliament, who is a spokesperson for the committee, another meeting has been scheduled for Wednesday, July 26th, where they hope that this time around they will have the presidential aspirants themselves instead of their representative to be at this meeting, and then the balloting will take place.
Thank you, Sami Wiafi. Let's hear now from Honorable Apenyo Markin, Member of Parliament for Futu, who you said is the secretary to the...
No, he's a spokesperson for the elections committee.
Let's listen to him.
We are going to have engagement with the aspirants on Wednesday and follow it up with other matters in accordance with the guidelines for the elections. We've had a fruitful engagement today, and I'm sure we'll follow it up on Wednesday. Thank you very much.
A petition from some of the aspirants. What were their grievances about?
No petition was submitted. We've not received any petition. We've had an engagement with representatives of aspirants. By the grace of God, the engagement ended successfully and fruitfully. We are going to have a meeting on Wednesday.
To discuss the same issue that
we are going to have a meeting on Wednesday.
To discuss the same issue.
We are going to have a meeting on Wednesday.
To discuss what, if I may ask?
We are going to have a meeting on Wednesday. When we're done with the meeting, I will brief you. Thank you very much.
You are a member of the election.
So far, so good. This is a family affair. Everything is going well. We are so far happy with processes, and the guidelines have been laid out. And it's not going to be the first time MPP is going to have an internal contest. Ours is to have a vibrant one, an engaging one, and to ensure that internal democracy is upheld. I mean, it's as simple as that.
So the General Secretary mentioned about a register that could be ready for these aspirants. You are a member of this committee. Is the register ready to be given to them, or you're still working on it?
I will brief you as and when a matter become ripe. The General Secretary has spoken broadly. My duty as the spokesperson of the Elections Committee is to brief you on specific matters. As and when such specific matters are due, I'm going to brief you on that. Okay? Thank you very much, sir.
That's Alexander Apenyo Markin, MP for Ifutu Deputy Majority Leader and spokesperson of the Elections Committee of the New Patriotic Party. Let's go to Asawase in the Ashanti region, shall we?
Yes, the family of a 34-year-old man, Salahuddin Tafilu, who died under police custody, is asserting that he was manhandled by police officers, leading to his death. This incident has resulted in an attack on the Asawase police station by enraged youth who vandalized properties in protest. The police reportedly conducted a swoop in the area and arrested several individuals, including Salahuddin Tafilu. Salahuddin's lifeless body was later Salahuddin.
Okay.
I beg your pardon.
Let's leave it there and go to the phone lines and speak to Hafiz Tijani, our correspondent in the Ashanti region. Hafiz, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. A lot of things have been happening since last night when you broke that news for us on the City Newsroom on Citi TV. Over the last 24 hours, arrests have been effected. An autopsy report has been presented. A burial has happened. Give us a quick summary of events so far.
So yesterday we were told that police officers went to the area in their usual swoop operation to carry out a swoop in the area. So they arrested a number of civilians while they were taking them to the police station in their vehicle. They picked up this young man, but his lifeless body was later found, and that brought the kind of misunderstanding we saw yesterday when the youth vandalized the police station at Asawase. So this area is in the Gumba line, and there's a particular slum called Guru, and this is where this particular incident happened. And the residents are not happy because they say this is not the first time police have carried out a swoop there and someone has died, and they are demanding answers. But the family remain so they are so in a very sad state. They are so sad, and they are saying that they would have to demand justice. And we have cited an autopsy report that talks about the kind of causes or the causes of death of this particular young man, the 34-year-old. So the autopsy report is pointing to massive blood in his abdominal cavity, and the report also indicates that the deceased suffered a splenic rupture and a blunt force trauma when he was brought to the hospital and the autopsy was conducted. But the youth are still being urged because they were so agitated. They wanted to attack any police officer within the community and also go ahead with their attack on the particular police station. But as we speak now, police officers have been stationed there and they are taking guard or keeping guard at the police station to ensure that there is no any further attacks. But he has been buried. But the family is certain that they are going to get justice because they have sat with the police hierarchy in the region, the police commander and other officers within the region to talk about this matter.
Very well. So it looks like things are calm now and it appears the police is in control of the situation.
Exactly. But since the issue broke, we've not had any official report from the police, but just that the police is keeping guard at the police station to prevent further attacks on the police station within the area. But the family says is still in touch with the police. Now that the autopsy report is out, they will be seeking some answers from the police.
Thank you so much. Hafiz Tijani is our correspondent in the Ashanti region. Let's go to the community and engage some opinion leaders on this particular matter. Gideon Okai is the assembly member for the electoral area that covers that particular, so this Asawase West electoral area, and he's joined us on the line. Mr. Okai, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. The community, last time when we spoke to you, you were narrating to us the incident as it occurred. The community members, especially the youth, are not happy with the police. Moving forward, how do you think the situation can be dealt with? Do you think the police have some questions to answer, or the youth rather should be answering questions?
Okay, first of all, let me use this opportunity to greet my electoral area people, Asawase West, Eli, and Kelai. First of all, yesterday around 7 o'clock, the Asawase police station is opposite my house where I stay. So I was there in the evening and we experienced a total blackout at the police station and also throwing of stones and the youth gathering in the police station, destroying property. So I quickly called the police patrol to come there so that they would come, will be there. And when we went there, a lot of properties in the police office have been damaged or destroyed. So upon my investigation, the youth who came there to destroy the police station, accusing the police that they have killed their brother, Shla. Because the police went to a place called Goro in Ashanti region, and there was a gang of buying drugs, weed smoking around. So they went there for operations. And the youth were struggling against the police. So the police arrested some of the weed smokers or the drug dealers or the youth at that area. So unfortunately, Sheila was passing by, so they also arrested Sheila. But upon investigation, the youth told me that Sheila was not part of the people who are dealing with drugs. And unfortunately, the police also do justice to Sheila. And Sheila kicked the bucket.
What do you mean by police did justice to Sheila and he kicked the bucket?
The police, maybe there was a misunderstanding between the police and the youth, which was included Sheila. So there was a little bit struggle between them and also brutalities between the police and the youth at that area, because that place is a base where they deal with drugs in that area. So the police went there for operations to arrest all those youth. So through fight between the police and the youth, so one of their friends, Sheila, experienced a death at that time. So they were furious and were not happy with why the police has killed their friend. So they quickly rushed the police station to destroy properties in the police station. That's all.
Do you feel safe now? Are things normal? Are you all right?
Oh, right now, no, the youth, they are not in Asawase. They are not in Asawase electoral area. They are from Goro. The Goro is at the Subin constituency. It's not in Asawase constituency or Asawase electoral area.
All right, that's fine. Thank you. Let's leave it here.
All right.
That's Gideon Okan. He's assembly member for the Asawase West electoral area in Asawase in the Ashanti region. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Up next, the latest in the world of business. And then we have Point Blank. On Point Blank tonight, a forecast into tomorrow's media budget. The Minister for Finance, Ken Oforiatta, will be delivering that presentation to the House of Parliament. We'll be looking at what are the key things that we should be looking out for, what he's going to be saying to Ghanaians. Please stay.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Pay attention, all my Africans and African Americans in the diaspora, plus my white brothers and sisters. What if I told y'all the most trusted real estate company in Ghana, Sukasa, would like to take y'all on a nationwide tour, highlighting prime real estate and investment opportunities. Sukasa builds affordable luxury homes with 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. Come get the real value for your money, plus they have very convenient payment policies with 100% guaranteed cash back. This fully gated or grandson communities include malls, cinemas, and all social amenities, plus 24-hour security. All you gotta do is sign up for the tour for a measly couple $1,000 and come see what could be yours in real life. The African dream is alive. Contact Sukasa on 030-296-0865 or 055-369-7886 at Sukasa GH on all social media platforms. Email info@sukasa.com.gh. The Sukasa experience is also bringing on board a bunch of other property developers, which means patrons get a variety of options to buy from. This is powered by Government of Ghana, Beyond and Return Secretariat, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Works and Housing, Diaspora Affairs, the Office of the President, British High Commission, and the UK Chamber of Commerce. Sukasa, building on trust.
This is a bank, First Atlantic Bank, a shining purple star to brighten up my day. First Atlantic Bank, refreshingly different services all day long. First Atlantic Bank, and it feels so cool. I know this is where I belong. This is a bank like no other. First Atlantic Bank. Follow me, let's go now. Let's go, let's bank. This is a bank like no other. Let's bank. This is a bank like no other. First Atlantic Bank.
First Atlantic Bank. Refreshingly different. Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Hello and welcome to Citi Business News and Eyewitness News, proudly brought to you by CitiBusinessNews.com. My name is Akusia Otri. Let's settle for the details. The Bank of Ghana has tightened the monetary policy rate by 50 basis points, pushing it up to 30%. This was determined following the Apex Bank's review of economic trends in the last 2 months. This means the cost of borrowing at banks has risen by 0.5% from the previous rate of 29.5% held by the central bank in May 2023. Analysts predicted that the rate will climb marginally due to inflationary pressures. Dr. Ernest Addison, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, in his address after the 113th Monetary Policy Meeting, ascribed the central bank's decision to the rate to rising inflation.
Although inflation is expected to decline in the near term, baseline forecasts show a slightly higher elevated profile in the year ahead, which, if not contained, would embed in underlying inflationary pressures. It is important that policy responds appropriately and decisively to prevent these risks from becoming embedded and consequently derail the disinflation process. In the committee's assessment, risks to the inflation profile are judged to be elevated, driven by second-round effects of food prices. Inflation has persistently hovered around 42% throughout the second quarter of 2023, even though central bank financing has been eliminated in the first 6 months of the year. Ghana's macroeconomic framework requires decisive tightening from both the fiscal and monetary side to anchor inflation expectations firmly on the declining path. Given these considerations and under the current circumstances, the committee has decided to increase the monetary policy rate by 0.5% to 30%. In the coming months, the committee will monitor closely incoming inflation data and will respond appropriately if needed should inflation persist.
Dr. Ernest Addison is governor of the Bank of Ghana. Now, total mobile money transactions reached a record of 859 billion cedis in the first 6 months of 2023, as compared to the 480 billion cedis recorded for the same period in 2022. This is according to data from the Bank of Ghana, which stated that should the trend continue, the total mobile money transactions will hit 1 trillion cedis by the end of July 2023. Mobile money transactions in January 2023 were estimated at 130.1 cedis, compared with 76.2 billion cedis during the same period in 2022. It surged to 134 billion cedis in February 2023 and subsequently to 147.5 billion cedis in March 2023. Well, despite this growth, revenue has been well below the government's expectations. Meanwhile, total value of mobile money interoperability for the first 6 months was estimated at 16.895 billion cedis. Now, traders are pushing for a favorable tax regime as the government prepares to present its half-year budget later this week. The business community is asking the government to restructure VAT to cushion Ghanaians or traders in the informal sector. Some industry players have already cautioned the government to withdraw some tax measures in the mid-year budget review to reduce the excessive hardship on companies. One of such associations is the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA. Dr. Joseph Obeng is president of the association.
The VAT as it's structured now is not working to the advantage of the trading sector, especially the informal sector, where there's no fairness in the VAT. We want the VAT system to be restructured so that it will enhance on compliance as well as bringing fairness and parity to doing business. The leakages in the system, as we've always been saying, they're talking about, should also be looked at, that we are able to prune down on those leakages, especially at the free zones, the warehousing systems, and the tax exemption scheme, if needed, to be abrogated altogether, so that those exemptions that are needed should be applied and be given. If you're able to do all these things, then I don't have any doubt that we'll be able to get the needed resources, having prioritized our needs and prune down expenses.
Dr. Joseph Obeng is president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association. Now, as part of moves to address its fiscal challenges, the government is being urged to scale up efforts to control under-recoveries in the energy sector. Ghana's economy is under intense pressure, having forced government to seek a $3 billion IMF program. Benjamin Boache is the executive director at the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, and he explains that if urgent attention is not given to the sector, Ghana's debt levels will remain unsustainable.
This is electricity sector where we're supposed to sell power and recover revenues, and we have failed to deliver that over a decade. And the program highlights that the entire economy becomes unsustainable if we continue to behave the way we have behaved with the energy sector, where over the years, government has spent in the past 4 years an average of about $1 billion or $1.2 billion every year to cover the shortfalls in the energy sector. And if you look at government's own projection of business as usual scenario, that is if nothing changes or we continue to behave with the energy sector as we do, what we have been doing, we will be paying about 23 billion Ghana cedis this year to support the lights to be on. By end 2026, we would have spent about 97 billion Ghana cedis. That is far more than what we have programmed in the same budget to spend on fiscal infrastructure in key socio-economic sectors of the economy. That really highlights that we need to make a massive U-turn and ensure that we can sell power and recover the cost of generating that power.
That was the executive director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Benjamin Wache. Finally, the immediate past Minister of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Osifri Akoto, is calling for new business models to diversify Ghana's agricultural sector. According to him, these new models will help increase the sector's contribution to the overall gross domestic product, GDP, and ensure the country's food security. Dr. Osifri Akoto made these comments at the Viking Alumni Celebrity Platform at the University of Ghana, Legon.
There's an urgent need for things to be done differently if we are to succeed in transforming our agriculture for the prosperity of all. The importance of the agricultural sector to Ghana's economy can be assessed not only by its contribution to GDP, but also by the high percentage of the employed population in agriculture that represented an important source of income for the large majority of households in this country. We must engage to create commonwealth that sees to the needs of the common people. There is the need for a new innovative business model, value addition, productive scale, stakeholder engagement, including the youth, smallholder farmers, and large-scale farmers, and everyone in the agribusiness value chain for adequate and affordable food and high-value export to fully benefit from the gains of the agriculture sector.
Immediate past Minister of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Osifri Akoto. And that's how we wrap up today's edition of the Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. It was brought to you by your most comprehensive business news website, citibusinessnews.com. My name is Akusia Otri. Up next is Point Blank.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Hello, Auntie Araba. Hey, Bugger, how are you doing today? I want to buy Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, but I don't have enough money. So what are you going to do? Can you give me the big size? As for me, I'll pay the balance later. Today, no credit. I haven't sold much this morning. If you don't have enough money for the big size, why don't you try the 120-gram pack? There's a 120-gram pack? Introducing the new Pepsodent Cavity Fighter in 120-gram pack size. More affordable and convenient. Get yours today from any supermarket near you. Every smile matters. This advert is FDA approved.
Bro, what's up? I beg, where the Total Energy service station day for here? Still up here. Tornado. Charlie. I beg. Make I take picture with you first, then I go show you the Total station. Today, Instagram go cry. Hey! Oh, about the directions. Go forward small. You go meet a watch seller. Santan, the Total station is right after. Thanks, bro. But now you know be Total. It be Total Energies. You the bab.
Tornado. You do all.
The time is here, starting 24th July. Buy fuel or lubricants from any Total Energy service station and win free amazing prizes instantly. Promo is valid while stocks last. Terms and conditions apply. Total Energies, energizing your future.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
delivered tomorrow by the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta. We'll be hearing from the Finance Ministry in a bit. But before then, let's analyze some of the issues that may arise or that must arise in the presentation tomorrow. Professor Godfred Bokpin is a lecturer at the University of Ghana, lecturer of economics at the University of Ghana. He's been helping us do analysis of the state of Ghana's economy for some time now. Prof, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Yes, good evening. Good evening to our cherished listeners.
Yes, good evening to you too. Prof, what should be in the Finance Minister's briefcase tomorrow when he appears in the chamber?
The expectations vary, my brother. But baseline, it has to mirror reality. There is pain. Businesses are complaining. So, of course, we know that the media review is an opportunity to revalidate the assumptions underlying the 2023 budget, for which reason some of the macro targets will have to be revised. Of course, one of them is inflation. If you look at government inflation targets for 2023 in the budget, we are looking at end of year inflation rate of 18.9%. We've gone past June. June inflation is 42.5%. To scale to drag down inflation from 42.5% to 18.9% by December is going to be very tough. To do so also will mean that adjustment process should be very impactful, and therefore we expect some revision from there. But the other thing, even though it's a media review, we also expect that the government will take advantage to actually update us in terms of the performance of the economy in 2022, because at the time they presented the 2023 budget in November 2022, the figures were not ready by then, and therefore government will take advantage to give us the fiscal outcome in terms of revenue compared to targets, GDP compared to targets, and all of that. And then also it gives us also the opportunity then to analyze the variance and all of that. Apart from, it's not just the tax to GDP ratio, but across the various tax handles. Then we will look at the 2023 targets themselves also, because sometimes it's not always the case that assumptions underlying the forecast way back in November last year will hold consistently as we go into the implementation year, and therefore we will need to revalidate the assumptions. And also, but beyond that, there are two things that I'm going to talk about. My expectation, and I hope I will not be disappointed, my expectation is that government will take advantage of the media review to merge the street levies with the standard VAT rate and peg it at below 18%. This is a must. Yeah, somebody will say that, well, but this is just a media review. But in the time past, we've taken advantage of some of the media reviews to make major policy interventions, given the macro criticality of those situations. So I'm expecting that government will respond positively to the concerns of the private sector and businesses, right? And then also when it comes to
before you go to number two, so how important is this, and why are you asking for the merger?
Our VAT rate, the incidence of the VAT rate ultimately, my brother, is more than 21%, and it's one of the highest in the whole of Africa. This is not sustainable. This is inequality worsening. This has implications for poverty reduction. This has implications for the competitiveness of our private sector. So for something like this, we cannot wait for another 6 months and say that this should wait and rather be incorporated in the substantive budget when presented in November. I think latest by November 17th or so, for it to kick in from January 2024. Of course, depending on how Parliament responds to the 2024 budget. No. Okay, so we cannot conduct our affairs as though Ghana is an island, isolated somewhere, not interacting with the regional economy and the global economy. Whatever we are doing here, we have to look at it across the continent, because we are talking about the African continental free trade. and all of that. So whatever we are doing today should not just be to make our government comfortable to repair the public sector balance sheet or to restore the soundness of the public sector balance sheet. We must look at it across the continent and see what other countries are also doing and whether what we are doing makes our private sector competitive, right? So that they are able to take advantage of the African continental trade. And for now, our VAT is one of the highest. It's not only that. Look, my brother, if you see that inflation is high, especially food inflation, as we have it in Ghana, more than 45%, and you see that your VAT rate, both the straight levies and the standard VAT rate put together, the effectiveness, the incidence of that is more than 21%. Now, in an economy where 42 to 45% of household expenditure is on food, these two put together they are unbearable for consumers. And that is why you see that poverty rate is going up. You see that inequality is widening, okay? Because the average Ghanaian spends on more than 42% of their household expenditure on food. On food. And that is quite high, okay? Apart from that, you are also looking at the COVID-19 health levy, okay? I think that needs to go as quickly as possible. And then also, given that the digital economy all over the world, it's not only in Ghana, all over the world, the digital economy is projected to grow faster than the traditional economy. If that is the perspective, then you cannot introduce e-levy as a constraint at this early stage. And therefore, I'm expecting that government, even if they don't do that in this media review, of course, we can have some concession on that. We are expecting that government will take steps to actually remove the e-levy and free up that sector to grow and create jobs. It's not only that. There are just 4 countries that take almost 92% of all digital-related FDI flows to Africa. And these are essentially the big 4: Nigeria, Egypt, Kenya, South Africa. Okay, the other 8% is what is available for the other smaller countries to share. Ghana, we don't have that size, but we can tag along Nigeria by creating an enabling environment in order to be able to appropriate our fair share of the digital-related FDI so that we can scale up. That is the only way we can make it.
Do we look as if we can meet the targets that we set, or there will be some targets that have to have their goalposts shifted? And generally, the revenue targets, do you think we are meeting them?
Yes, I think that when it comes to inflation, certainly there's a need for some level of revision. And then also when it comes to the growth targets, yes, of course, we've seen the first quarter growth, a bit of a surprise and all of that. But then, this is the other thing we need to also take into consideration. If you look at our GDP growth and its quality and the rest of them, it's not sufficient. So the other conversation we need to have is that we need a proper macroeconomic target that reduces inequality, that reduces poverty. The mere celebration of positive GDP growth is not the way to go. I think if you look at the discussion in the development literature today, countries are going beyond GDP growth. They are looking at other indicators that should complement that. So maybe for the media review, we can say that, okay, fine. But I think going forward, we need to look at many of these things quite broadly. And then also, we need to change the narrative. The narrative that Ghana is not developing because we are not collecting sufficient tax revenue is not true. Okay, if you look at what Malaysia has done with their tax GDP ratio, what Singapore has done with their tax to GDP ratio, Ghana has no excuse. With what we have been able to collect over the years, in the last 15 years, largely around 13 to 14.5% of that. If we were efficient and we had dealt with corruption, we should have been able to develop to a level far better than where we are now. So you see that Ghana's lack of revenue is more of inefficiency, corruption, right? Especially inefficiency in our public investment management process and all of that. If a country is that corrupt and you see that level of inefficiency in our public investment management process, you see procurement infractions and all of that, then it doesn't matter the level of tax revenue you collect. Our bills will only increase.
All right. We hope to see if the minister will be listening to you. But thank you so much for speaking to us, Prof.
I also hope so. Thank you so much. God bless you.
God bless you too. That's Professor Godfred Bokpin. He's a lecturer at the University of Ghana. Let's hear from the Ministry of Finance now. Dr. John Kumar, that is a Deputy Minister of Finance. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. First of all, confirm for us if the presentation is tomorrow or is on Thursday. We are seeing conflicting reports.
Yes, Sandra. Greetings to Prof. Bopkins and your listeners. In fact, to be honest, I am unable to confirm whether it's tomorrow or Thursday. We are ready if it's tomorrow, but I also keep getting conflicting readiness from Parliament. Yeah.
Okay, so Parliament hasn't confirmed that you can come tomorrow.
Yes, but we are ready. We keep getting the conflicting reports of tomorrow or Thursday. So, unfortunately, I'm unable to say tomorrow or Thursday.
I see. So,
unless we hear officially from Parliament.
Okay.
But we are ready.
Oh, so you are going to be ready tomorrow and you're going to be ready Thursday. When Parliament says come in and speak, you come in and speak.
Exactly.
All right. What are you going to tell Ghanaians? An inkling into the key issues, not necessarily the full review,
Yes.
but what are some of the things we should expect?
Yes. Thank you very much. It's a mid-year. So obviously, we are going to tell Ghanaians about what has happened to the economy from the beginning of this year, from January to middle of this year. And of course, the major event that has happened is the IMF program that we got a board approval, and then how the economy has fared, and then the outlook for the rest of the year. Of course, if you're in an IMF program, it means that you should be going through some fiscal consolidation and debt restructuring, and then some contractionary fiscal policies. But the good news is that the first quarter of this year has seen unexpected high growth of 4.2%. Of course, even though we have been successful with the fiscal consolidation effort under the fund program so far. So we are going to stick to the objective of ensuring that we achieve the fiscal consolidation and, of course, the debt restraint and the structural reforms that we need to do, while at the same time having a growth strategy that will ensure that the economy doesn't contract, that we keep, growing it in order to create jobs and opportunities for the youth as well. So this is going to be the main focus.
So you make a lot of technical and statements there. The economy will not contract, physical space and all of that. To the ordinary person in Ejisu, what does that mean? What is the government seeking to do tomorrow or Thursday?
Okay, thank you. Let me break it down to the ordinary language. So what I've been trying to say is that what we have done the whole year is to try and manage the economy in a way that we don't spend more than we have. We have to make sure that we don't spend more money than we are able to collect within the system. So that is called fiscal consolidation. And then also the debt that we owe, we should be able to bring it down to sustainable levels. And that is also another objective under the program. I heard Professor Bopkin talking about the GDP growth may not necessarily reflect support to the vulnerable in the economy, and that is very important. One of the key objectives of this IMF program is to ensure support inclusive growth. It means that the poor, the vulnerable have to be taken good care of. So if you have seen in the 2023 budget, government made extra allocation for school feeding program. We have increased the grant to the caterers and also the numbers. We have increased the numbers of beneficiaries under LEAP. We increased the amount from 45 Ghana cedis to 90 Ghana cedis and increased the number from 250,000 beneficiaries to 450,000 beneficiaries. So all these are indications that government is focusing on the poor and the vulnerable. NHIS payment goes on time so that when the people are sick and the poor are sick and they go to the hospital, they can also enjoy the health insurance scheme, capitation grant. So all these are part of the program to ensure that we are not just talking figures, but we are also protecting the most vulnerable in the society. So yes, in the midst of all this reduced expenditures, government has to make sure that when the 20-year-old boy in Ejoso wants to start his business, the private sector, he is able to have his investments done and create jobs and opportunities for other people. So basically, this is what we are trying to do. We want to be able to achieve growth in the midst of this fiscal constraints that we find ourselves.
The issue that comes up is the expenditure and how you should reduce it. I've seen your boss, the minister, being quoted as saying that the free SHS policy, he's defending the policy essentially, and no need for repeal, or there will be no repeal. Many think that if you want to cut down on expenditure, the free SHS, which is a huge elephant consuming so much, should be one of the areas you should consider, since you cannot do anything about the salaries of workers.
It's not true that free SHS is a huge elephant in the room. If you have seen the data, in the 2023 budget, free SHS allocation was 2.9 billion. And the entire appropriation for the year was 228 billion. So, you cannot tell me if you are spending 2.9 billion out of 228 billion is the elephant in the room. No. And then this is covering over 1.3 million Ghanaian children. The impact and benefits of the free SHS, of course, like Professor Bobkin said, it goes to the core of the vulnerable and, of course, the future of human resource of our country. And for me, that is non-negotiable. The elephant in the room, we all know, is our debt interest payments. It was 56 billion allocation we made. And, of course, through the DDEP, the IMF program, we are able to now bring that down. And in the media budget, you hear the good news of how much savings government has made on expenditures. The elephant in the room, of course, is compensation. This year, even though we budgeted 45 billion in the budget, I believe the labor negotiation resulted in about 30% extra incentives to work.
But those are areas you cannot touch. So that's why I was saying that these are areas, even though they are huge or humongous, you cannot touch them. So you can't touch the wage bill.
Yes,
you cannot
but
touch
it.
You cannot
that
touch.
is what we have. We
you
have
cannot touch the debt. But you can
the DDEP,
but you can touch the free SHS.
The IMF program. No, you can't touch it. I mean, it's not negotiable. I mean, so why can't you touch 56 billion, but you can make savings from 2.9 billion? That is not economical.
I see. You're also going to account to the representatives of the people how you have done in the collection of revenue and how you intend to utilize that revenue. How are we looking on that side of things?
Yes, fantastic. On the revenue front, we have an overall revenue reduction of about 10 billion, which came from the oil sector. Two factors happened in the course of the year. The oil price last year was $82. It's now dropped to $74. And the quantity of production on our oil fields have also declined. So we had a shortfall of about 10 billion. But the non-oil sector, which is handled by GRA, has been exceeded. And the Honorable Minister will put the figure out for that tomorrow or Thursday when the media budget is read. GRA has been more than on target for the budget estimated target that we gave to GRA. So on the non-oil sector, Ghana is doing well in terms of revenue collection. It is the oil sector that, but even in the oil sector, Ghana has found new jobs and we've started new production. And so the outlook is also positive, and we believe we'll be able to maximize our revenue projections for the year.
Now, your government is popular for talking about nuisance taxes. Why do I still have to pay for COVID-19 levy?
Okay, so let me say two things on COVID-19 levy. First of all, COVID-19 levy will expire by 2024 by law. I mean, from the bill that creates the law that created it. Secondly, even though COVID-19 is gone, its impact, its negative fiscal impact on the economy are still with us, and we are still managing the situation. So we will need to bear with government for a while. We know the deep shortfalls in revenues of about 12.9 billion in 2020. That government had to go through borrowing to make up the extra expenditures of about 14.6 billion. This is in 2020 when COVID came. And, all these expenditure gap were done by borrowing funds from external and internal sources to meet it. And so government, over the past 2 years, has been working to recover some of these money through these taxes to be able to pay the huge fiscal hole that was created as a result of COVID-19. So in good time, even though COVID-19 is no more a pandemic, its negative economic impact on our finances are still with us. And we will need a little while to address that problem.
Thank you for speaking to us. We'll keep an eye on the House of Parliament to see if you're going tomorrow or Thursday. Whichever be the case, we'll report to our public. Thank you.
Regards to your listening.
That's the Honorable Dr. John Kumar. He is Deputy Minister of Finance and MP for Ejisu. That's how we end tonight's edition of Eyewitness News. It came to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. I did this with Akosia Autry. Production by Kwabna Wilson and Sami Uyafi. Technical support from Daniel Skwashi and new media support from Edwin Kwakofi. We'll return tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. Thank you for listening. Have a good night.